Namaste. We've talked in recent days about karma. It's very important to understand that karma is not something absolutely fixed. It's not a kismet. It is an energy devoted in a certain direction. You can change that karma by putting out energy in the other direction. There's several things you can do. You can wear astrological rings or bangles of some kind. The advice of a guru can help to guide you, but the guidance itself is always to put out a nullifying energy. For example, my guru told me that in past lives I was eaten up with doubts. Well, we all had something, and this has been mine. And you know, when you break a bone and it heals, that part of the bone that's healed is a stronger bone. And so also when you've had a fault and you've overcome it, it becomes a stronger part, a stronger virtue. So don't regret anything. But the thing is that what my guru told me to do is write and teach and help other people to resolve their doubts. It's not that I have the doubts, but I need to really knock that karma on the head. And I'm very happy to do it. I'm very happy to share. I want to share. But my particular role seems to have been to share in such a way as to help people get rid of their doubts, to help them to have faith, to understand. And I'm grateful for that. But everything you've done is a particular wave of energy. And if you can do a nullifying energy, put out a nullifying energy, this is why karma yoga is so necessary. I've read in Western writings where they say that they think that the Bhagavad Gita is that the answer is don't do anything and then you won't get karma. You'll get karma by not doing anything. You get karma for breathing. You get karma for thinking. Even your dreams create a certain kind of karma. You can't get rid of action, mental, emotional, physical, it doesn't matter. What you have to do is put out a nullifying energy to break that karma, to nullify it. And so your particular duty depends on, well, a guru can tell you, but in your inner self, there probably will be some sort of feeling of something that you need to do. Actually, to find out what your destiny in life is, what your work in life is, it would help you also to think back to the first 6 years of your life. During those years, the tendencies that you were brought over with will still be uppermost and be strong. I remember when my parents, when I was 7, I think, at this time, and I believe I may have told this story before, but I showed them an essay I'd written for school, very simple at the age of 7, of course, and they told me there were too many ands in my sentences. Well, I knew they were right. I didn't have any question about it, but I was so surprised at the instinctive reaction that came into my mind. Who is anyone to tell me how to write? That means because I was a writer before. And I had that memory of having been one. Well, it wasn't a decent reaction. Unfortunately, I wasn't stupid enough to voice it or even to take it seriously. But I was surprised at myself for even having such a thought. Well, look back at your past and think what tendencies did you have? And also think in terms of what came naturally to you in the way of reactions. Do you react to certain situations in a negative way? Learn to react in a positive way. Do you react to certain people in a negative way, certain types of people? Learn to overcome that. You can overcome much karma if you can get to the source of it and put out a blocking kind of energy. But karma is not kismet. It's something you have developed and something that you need to get rid of if you were to find God. What happens is that each karma is sort of a seed in the spine that pulls you downward. It's like an anchor. It's hard to rise. And even a jivan mukta is held back to some extent by that karma of the past. So what we need to do is raise our consciousness by getting rid of those things that are impeding us. Now, a Jivan Mukta can look back and remember specifically what he did and offer it to God. But can't you also feel that in your own nature, even if you don't know what your tendencies are, even if you don't know what you've done in the past, just constantly give yourself to God. Say to God, I am yours. Everything I've done belongs to you. Don't cling to anything as your own. You'll find yourself, if you do this, every night, make yourself a bonfire and throw into that bonfire every attachment, every desire, and bit by bit you will begin to find yourself feeling free. Even if you don't know the karma you're getting rid of, you will find a certain freedom this way. Remember, the whole goal of spiritual effort is first to cling to God, to love Him, to embrace Him, to become one with Him. But we also have to do the work, as I said, open the curtains. That work really is getting rid of all this burden that we carry with us. And that burden always comes back to the simple thought, I. If you can get rid of the thought, I, and feel that, God, you've done everything through me. You know, that's not a passive thought. It takes, first of all, a great deal of energy. Secondly, you find that if you cooperate with Him, there's an enormous amount you can do in this world. The lazy people are not the ones who achieve anything. You must put energy into your striving if you would understand who you really are. So karma is all important. There's karma of individuals, there's karma of nations. I know when I was in Cambodia in 1958, I went to visit Angkor Wat from Bangkok. And I felt there was a sort of a dark cloud over that country. And look what's happened to it since then. I feel there's a cloud over Germany now. And Germany certainly has some bad karma to pay off. It's doing well right now, but it will have to pay for that. I know my guru prophesied that Europe will be devastated and Russia will be annihilated. These are realities that are born of karma, the karma of a nation. And what Hitler decided, and what a few Nazis decided, they decided on the part of the nation. I've met many wonderful German people, kind, loving, supportive, helpful. But their whole nation has to think in terms of what certain people have done on behalf of that nation. And they have created some bad karma too. Russia has created terrible karma. Look at the reign of Stalin. You can't wipe your hands of those things, but you can try to correct it by being serviceful to others, by helping other people. If the Russians, and now many of them are turning to God, this is the best thing they could do. If they would try to help other countries, this would help a great deal. But few countries think in those terms. This is one of the wonderful things about America. In history, I don't know of an example of a country that was attacked, beat its enemy, and then stooped down to help them. And that's what America did. So you can say anything you like against America, but those things are true. And in fact, people, when they vote with their feet, they try to go to America. But we're coming to a very difficult time now. And the karma of the world is not light. There's been much selfishness, much bloodshed, much persecution. And this all has to be paid off before we can soar freely into this new age of Dwapara Yuga. So we will see that there will be international war, atomic bombs. There, I know Mr. Karthikeyan, he was the former CBI in India, and he told me that there are 35,000 known atomic weapons in the world. Known, that doesn't mean all the ones that have been built surreptitiously. How can those things be and not expect some sort of a blow-up? It's bound to come. There's still too much violence in the air. And this is one reason I've tried to create and have created successfully 8 communities in the world on 3 continents where people can learn to live closer to one another, to be friends with one another, to work cooperatively, to grow their own food, not to worry so much about where their money is coming from and their food is coming from. Greed is creating a tremendous depression. We've only seen the first little breath of it. There will be a time when people can't bring food into the center cities. They'll be stopped before they can come in. People will be starving to death. It won't be easy. But if you remember that this karma can be changed, the answer to karma is generosity. The answer to karma is to give to other people, to share with other people. If we think that way, we will come through everything unscathed. But this cloud over the world, it's over certain countries more than others. It's over all countries to some extent. America too has its bad karma. I know my guru mentioned the way we treated the American Indians. It's strange that he didn't mention the Negroes, but certainly we got some bad karma for that. But the interesting thing is, first of all, that they were sold by their own people into slavery. And I know a black friend of mine went back to Nigeria, and he came back to America. He said, now I see the positive side of slavery, because the blacks in America, being educated, will be able to lift the whole African continent. But there was a lot of black magic in the descending yugas there. And even today, there's a lot of black magic. These things create bad karma. And that will have to be dissipated in time. But all of Africa, it's really sort of a black country. I remember going into the Cairo Museum, where it had all sorts of old artifacts from ancient Egypt. And I really felt very strongly the presence of black magic there. There's a certain aura. Some people have gone there whom I know, who after visiting that museum have come out and they've been sort of confused ever since. There's some power in the world, and the power for negativity is just it's almost as strong as the power for positivity. We have to work in such a way that we give more, love more, are kinder to people. But Africa will come up. They have the same nervous system. There's nothing backward about them. It's their karma that's holding them down. The color of your skin doesn't matter at all. I know many people in India like our colored skin. I think the Chinese have it right. They say we look undercooked. Well, anyway, the thing is that what your skin is not your true race. Your race is which caste you belong to. What kind of a person you are in yourself. Are you a Shudra? Do you think only in terms of feeding yourself and having physical pleasure and just not using your brain? Animals, when they come up to the human level or on that level, they don't know yet that they have an intelligence to use. Then they begin to see that with a little intelligence, they're able to accomplish much more. And so they become Vaishyas. And the Vaishya is able to use his intelligence to get for himself, but he doesn't think about other people. But then gradually he begins to understand, gradually can mean many lifetimes, well, maybe I'm not finding what I want this way. Maybe I should be more giving of myself. And so gradually he evolves to the level of a Kshatriya. And the Kshatriya can, they symbolize the Kshatriya as somebody who's a soldier, but really what it means is somebody who's willing to give up his life for other people. In other words, somebody who's willing to serve other people and help other people. And then people come to the point where they understand that service is best if you can give them joy, not just do things for them physically. So you become a Brahmin, and then you go beyond a Brahmin. But you see in this also, there is a trap, because sattvic people won't find God. They're still thinking in terms of themselves. And so the difficulty with sattva is, sattva guna is that you can become lazy, and then you fall back to a Shudra. And how many times we rise and fall and go back to an animal state for one life and come back again. It's an endless process. You could go on for days of Brahma, as I said before, until finally you wake up and realize that the answer to it all is beyond the gunas, triguna rahitam, beyond everything, and to become one with God. That is the freedom we all must seek. You know, they say in the scriptures that one moment in the company of a saint can be your raft over the ocean of delusion. Because the magnetism of the saint can implant into you that understanding in your soul that what I really am looking for is bliss. And if you can infuse that desire in people, that too is a desire, and it will have to be fulfilled. And so once to have the desire for God puts you already on the road to salvation. That is the most important gift you can give people, that they long to know who they are. They long to know God. They long for spiritual freedom. Your goal in life, finally, is to know who you are, why you are here. Ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself the right questions. Science doesn't ask those right questions. It asks useless questions, ultimately. The yogi says, why am I here? Who am I? What is the source of this person? Who is asking this question? Who am I? And gradually tracing yourself back to your own source, you realize that I'm something more than this ego. Something is dreaming me. Something has created me. And I am that. When you can find your freedom in God, everything falls away. You won't recognize yourself anymore. You'll see that you are really another Krishna, another Christ, another completely free soul. That is your destiny, and you can't avoid it, but you can delay it. Why delay it? Namaste.